Hey you guys, it's Steph, welcome back to my channel. I know you all probably thought that I had ghosted you again, but honestly, I have had the worst luck with technology. Like the first video that I filmed, my hard drive went corrupted. Then the second video that I filmed, my microphone wasn't working and turns out I needed a new one. And then the third one that I filmed, I literally had to fix my entire PC. I had to go into the coding and I didn't know what I was doing. AI was great for that, thank you so much. But yeah, I literally, every time I've tried to film a video, it's all gone wrong. So if you're seeing this, then we're back. Anyway, how are you? What's new with you? I missed your little faces. Your face, by the way, is looking fantastic. Like 10 out of 10 face right there, my friend. I would love to take your face and wear it as my face. And that's not creepy at all. Speaking of faces and how I would like to put someone else's face on my face, today I'm going to be telling you how to change your face, but you don't need to because you look great. What's happening? Basically, as we all know, I like to, let's say, change my avatar every so often. I feel like every year I just go, let's select a new random avatar and just go with that. Sometimes I wonder if maybe it's because I never really played with dolls that much growing up, and then as I got older, I was like, oh, hang on, that actually sounds kind of fun. Might be a bit weird if I'm a 32-year-old woman just like sitting and playing with dolls. No judgment though. So let's just do it on myself. Basically, I'm gonna be telling you guys how to catfish everyone in your life. You're welcome. Now, the first step of catfishing is, of course, to look after your skin. And I know you see that ad popping up on screen now, but trust me, you guys know I've been using Dematica for years now. It genuinely is worth the hype, no BS, well worth the money. Like, honestly, skincare products and, let's face it, everything these days is so expensive. Like, honestly, too expensive. I'm gonna level with you guys here. Like, I get sent lots of lovely, nice products and sometimes I'll try them, but then I will literally look at the price of like some serums and I'm like, there is no way that's normal. Like, why do I need diamond in my skincare? I don't. I just need stuff that works, and Dematica is something that works. The absolute legends at Dematica have given us loads of discount codes over the years, but I think this might be the best one yet. So basically, if you use my code STEPH, you will get 50% off your first 3 months, so you can really give this a go. Most people say they tend to start seeing results in as little as 6 weeks, so you've got plenty of time to see if it actually works for you, but I think it will, because basically, Dematica is personalized skincare for your skin. So all you do, it's super simple. You literally go on the website, which I'll link down below, and you fill out a couple of questions about your skin, maybe some concerns that you've got, where you kind of want it to be, send a few pictures in of your skin, and then someone from their dermatology team will actually design a product that is custom made for you. It's like just having a personalized dermatology team just like at your fingertips. In fact, that's basically what it is. I've been using Dematica for so long now that my skin just remains consistently good, and like my skincare routine is so much more simplified now, and it's the best my skin has ever looked. I mean, we all know by now that good makeup starts with good skincare, so if you guys want to try out Dematica for yourself, then use my code, which is STEPH, and you will get 50% off your first 3 months. I don't know why I do that. I literally just have to pick it up in a minute. It's not like I have a team around here or anything. I'm like throwing stuff on the floor for dramatic effect, and then I'm just like sadly picking it up at the end of the video. Hello! I'm actually going to try out a couple of new products today because, guys, I've got such a backlog of products to try out. So we're going to try out the Urban Decay Slick Day Brow. I trust Urban Decay with a lot of things. I need a lot of hold in my brows, as we know, otherwise they go all sad and do this. So I need them to be as like clean as possible. In fact, I usually, even if I've not got anything on my skin, I will just go over my brows with like a wipe or something. Ooh, it's got like a really fine comb wand. Oh, I don't know if I like it though. Wait, I'm gonna slick them down. Like, what? Okay, so with brows, the general rule of thumb, if you want this look, can we just say, by the way, do your makeup however you want to do your makeup. It doesn't matter what you do, there's no right or wrong, but this is what like helps me when I do want a bit more of a lifted look. And when the Botox starts running out, because I haven't had my Botox done now in like close to 6 months, and what is that? What is that? Is that movement I see? Like, oh my God, I'm getting it done in like a few weeks. But in the meantime, we're going to fake Botox by lifting my brows. This is hurting me. I literally feel like as I kind of like curve around my brows, this is hurting me. I'm gonna use my really gammy spoolie. Don't judge me, okay? I like to lift my brows. So like, you can I could do a straight brow if I wanted to, straight-ish. But the way I also pluck my brows is I make sure that I have a higher arch here because my brows go down quite far in the inner corner. So to give the illusion of them being even more lifted, I pluck them a bit more underneath here and really, really lift them. This is actually why you'll see a lot of people like shaving the end of their eyebrows off, because then they just fill them in and make them a bit more lifted. Okay, so even now you can see it literally looks like I'm lifting this eyebrow up. whereas this one just looks a little bit lower. I think as far as like primer, foundation and concealer goes, there's not really much that will like change how your face looks. You can maybe argue that if you use something that's a bit more hydrating, your skin might look a little bit more glowy and a bit more lifted. But honestly, just do whatever you want to do. I'm just using my Tatcha Silk Cream, by the way, as my primer. I'm going to use the Essence Skin Tint because I loved this when I tried it before. If you guys haven't seen my video where I tried at Essence, like this was really, really good. It was way more full coverage as well than I thought it was going to be. Also, update on my tattoos. If you guys don't know, I'm removing these two. Not for any real reason. I just don't want them anymore, and technology's cool like that. But like, look how crusty they are. You can see it's like, it looks yellow because it's bruised. Like, it feels fine now, but yeah, crazy. You know when I said that like concealer doesn't really make a difference to how your face looks? I completely lied. What am I talking about? You guys have probably seen it on TikTok or Reels or something where people are like, here's the concealer placement you need to do if you want to lift your face. And yes, to an extent. I mean, they're making out as if it's going to give you a facelift instantly. It's not. But there are a few things that you can do just to help lift your face a little bit. So first of all, if you want to kind of brighten your under eye, which again will in turn lift your face a little bit more, use a slightly lighter concealer. Like literally, it doesn't need to be white. Just a tiny bit lighter, because usually you do have a little bit more of darkness in there. And I actually like to lift my outer corner. This, it kind of doesn't really matter if you are going to do a wing or something afterwards or do a bit of eyeshadow, but I like to lift a little bit here on the outer corner, because maybe you guys can see, like I've got the light shining on my cheekbone here, and then it goes inwards a little bit here. So if I put a bit of concealer just on my outer corner, it kind of pushes that bit out again to make my like cheeks look almost more lifted. And then I'm also going to cover up a little bit of my microblading, but actually I also do this to kind of highlight my brow bone as well and give even more space like in between my actual eye and my eyebrow. Kind of like I mean, if you want to do this, but you kind of want the illusion of like everything being lifted up like this, like facelift, jaw, everything. I also like to do concealer here because I feel like it lifts the corner of my mouth. So I'm just patting that in my inner corner. Obviously it's not fully blended yet, but as you can see, this is like so much lighter and more pushed out than this side here, where I've got a little bit of darkness, a little bit of purple. Here it's like, it doesn't even exist. But even just like, can you see the shape of my eye? The shape of my eye looks different. It looks more winged out because we've kind of lifted it here with concealer. Oh, the concealer I'm using, by the way, is the HMB airbrush one, and I'm using it in the shade SF2WN. And maybe you guys can see there as well. That's ever so slightly more lifted. You can also contour your nose a little bit. If I just do that, it's not probably blended in, but it has basically made the sides of my nose almost disappear into the rest of my face. These days, I actually contour my nose in a really weird way. I'll show you guys in a second, but I've had people asking me if I've had a nose job. And spoiler alert, I don't actually use contour. Stay tuned. Okay, we all know a lot of the usual contouring tricks, so I'm not going to bore you guys too much. I'm going to use my blush by Mid by Mitchell in the shade Hollow there. I'm mostly using this so I can actually show you guys properly. So when you're contouring, suck your cheeks in and follow that line. So I'm going to put that right in the middle. If you want your cheekbones to look a little bit higher, I've got naturally quite high cheekbones anyway, but if you want them to look higher, then go a little bit above that. Bronzer is bronzing your skin up, making it look a little bit more tanned. Contour is literally creating a shadow, which is why it's usually so grey tone. So you don't want to use a lot. And when you're blending, just make sure that you're blending upwards. So you're not blending down, you're not dragging your face down. Everything that you want to be doing that applies to basically everything that I'm going to be showing you guys, you want to be blending upwards. But what I do like to contour, and let me know if you've been around since I used to use the ABH pomade for this, I contour under my lip. Like, I do this, find the shadow where your lip naturally falls, and go underneath. And because it falls underneath your lip anyway, it just creates even more of a shadow. Okay, bronzer, one of my favorite steps, but I'm actually going to try a product that I've heard so many people talking about, and I've just not gotten around to trying it. It's the Pro Artist Soft Glow Cream Bronzer from number 7. So for bronzing again, I'm putting it at the top of my cheeks. So typically, we were kind of taught, like back in the day, to do it in like a 3 shape. So when I worked at Bare Minerals, it was like, go around a 3 shape like this, which does work, don't get me wrong. It's like nice if you want a really like sun-kissed sort of look, but when it comes to sculpting your face with bronzer, I like to put it a little bit higher. Again, because remember, we're putting everything higher than it kind of should be, but then because I'm going to put highlighter like even higher, then it's just going to lift everything. I quite like that bronzer, you know. I thought at first maybe it was a little bit red tone, but actually now it's sort of all come together. I think it looks really nice. Okay, but we do need powder though because I look really greasy. I'm gonna use my Laura Mercier And you can use a slightly lighter powder if you like. Again, I feel like sometimes it does just look a little bit obvious. It might almost even be better to use more of like a light reflecting powder, especially under your eyes. Ooh, I really need to shave my mustache. That's a job for another day. So this is only really a step that I tend to do on like special occasions or when I want to look really, really snatched. You guys know I don't really like baking that much. I feel like it just looks a bit heavy, but every so often I will bake around my jaw. So if I just do a little bit of powder and kind of follow underneath where that contour was. I'll use a bit more powder than I normally would just so you guys can see. So like just here. But yeah, here you can see that that's really kind of like showing the shape that I want here. If you want more of like a rounded cheek, then you can kind of go like underneath your cheek with the powder. And I don't actually leave this for too long. I just then brush off the excess. Wait, can you guys see the difference? Like this side of my face literally looks so much higher than this side. It's all an illusion. So then for blusher, I'm going to take my very, very worn Doll Beauty Costa del Doll one. And again, it's kind of the same sort of idea as the bronzer with blusher. Obviously, if you want to put it all over your cheeks and do that, you crack on. But for me, I mostly just tend to use blusher to add a tiny bit more color to my face. So I put my blusher, again, really high up on my cheekbones. But I actually bring it up into my temples, all the way in there. But like, can you see that has lifted my cheeks? That's brought my cheek forward, which is cute. But if I want to bring it out and upwards, then you just need to kind of extend it up higher. And then it doesn't hurt, a little bit on a nose. So then I know I said I wasn't going to contour my nose, but one thing I do like to actually do is just put a little bit of a cool tone bronzer. This is just the Too Faced chocolate one, just on the bottom of my nose, because I feel like that really lifts my nose when I highlight it. And also you could add a bit under here as well. For highlighter, I'm going to use a product that I haven't used in so long, but this used to slap. It's the Oh Darling MAC highlighter. And we're going to go, like I said, right on the top here. So normally, maybe I would put it here, but I want to really push the boundaries of my face and get it right on the top. You guys know I love my little mini fan brush from Zoeva. I like to take that. And you can do this with a matte highlighter, a lighter colored eyeshadow. I like to, again, make even more room in between my eyes and my brows and pop some highlighter in there. So then for eyeshadow, I'm not going to do anything crazy here. I'm just going to show you guys a technique. So I'm literally just using my Too Faced chocolate bronzer and I'm working that in my crease just like you normally would. But what I want to do again is I want to lift. So I'm going to put a little bit in the outer corner, but what I'm going to do is lift upwards. So I'm not going to be like blending downwards like this. I'm literally going to be flicking upwards. It'll feel like you're not doing anything. You'll literally be like, nothing's happening here. I'm not blending anything. But eventually you'll actually start to realize that it is really starting to lift the outer corner. You basically kind of want to follow that original contour line with your cheeks, but with the rest of your face. So if your cheekbones are sitting there, then keep working upwards with that, with your blushes, with your highlighters. And then when it comes to your outer corner, you kind of want to follow that line as well. Keep on flicking. This side is going a little bit more downwards. This side going up. All right, so when I said that I like to contour my nose in a slightly weird way, I like to contour my nose with fake freckles. I'm gonna fill in a few more on my cheeks. Normally I probably would do this before I did any highlighter or anything. I do actually get natural freckles when I get tanned, and I love them, so I wanna bring them back. This little freckle tint, by the way, is from She Glam. I've realized that I much prefer this sort of freckle product as opposed to like a marker or anything. I feel like the trick with fake freckles is to draw a couple of them randomly. My macro camera's not on. Hello. Draw a couple of them randomly like that, and then I tap them in and I like move it around. And because of this product, it's actually quite sheer, so then you can just tap it in a little bit more. But the way that I actually contour with my fake freckles now is I'll kind of like leave the majority of the center of my nose just freckle free. I'll add a couple just so it looks a little bit more natural, but generally speaking, I put the majority of my freckles where I would normally contour my nose. So like all the way down the side here, up a little bit higher. And so then I kind of feel like it almost makes it look more natural because I've got these cute little freckles, but it's also somehow making my nose look slimmer because it's adding a little bit more of a shadow on the side. So like I will put a few in the center of my nose, but I'll typically leave it a little bit. Can you guys see? Yeah, you can see like I've got a couple just going across there. That's fine, but it actually almost like brings that side of my nose inwards. And I mostly add them like on this part of my nose and on my cheeks, but I will add a couple just over like across my cheeks just so again it looks a bit more natural. And then just a little tip as well, if you want your freckles to look a bit more natural, just add a few extra ones around your face. Okay, now for eyeliner. Now this is where things are going to make a huge difference, so listen up. It sounded threatening. Listen. Listen to me. Okay, I'm going to use my Huda Beauty Lifeliner in the shade Black. And again, we're following that line that I mentioned before. Everything's going to go up. However, another option you can do, it depends on your preference. If you want your eyes to look a little bit longer, a little more almond shaped, then you can bring them outwards. So I kind of like to do a little mix. Okay, this is when the macro is probably going to come in handy here. I look like I'm literally like staring past you because I'm looking at the viewfinder. I look really weird. But okay, so if I go straight out, then because my eyes are a little bit more downturned, then they might start to look a bit downturned. So I like to kind of compensate for that and counteract it by going upwards ever so slightly. And again, just in that line that we were talking about before. But I'm going to go like that. And don't worry, you can obviously clean the edges up in a minute. So then when I look straight ahead at you guys, I kind of want to, I don't like to go from the top of my eye. And I also feel like if I go from the inner corner all the way out, it makes my eyes look a bit smaller and a bit more round. I just want to focus on pulling out the edges of my eyes. You know, people like put a little bit in their inner corner as well. It just makes your eyes look longer. So I'm going to go from about here. You see what I'm doing there? And I'm going to connect it outwards there. I'm actually going to link one of my older videos on screen now. It was like the fox eye trend makeup, because in that I basically show you how to really extend your inner corner and your outer corner. Honestly, like that, it makes a huge difference. But yeah, I don't know if you guys can see, but I basically go upwards and out on the like bottom line that I draw, and then for the top part of my eye I almost kind of go straight across, and then when you look straight on, it kind of plays a little bit of a trick with your mind, so it's actually dragging my eyes outwards, but the lift at the end is making them look like they're going up. For mascara, I want to try out this new one that I've been sent. This is the Max Factor Full Lash Recharge. This is like the, is it already in there? I don't know. Yeah, okay, cool. So it basically comes like a refill. Pretty cool concept. Okay, so when it comes to mascara, what I feel like a lot of people do, which again is totally fine, is most people apply their mascara over all of their lashes, which looks great. But if you want everything to look lifted and if you want your eyes to look more of like an almond shape, then only focus your mascara on the outer corners. I don't really use lashes that much these days unless I'm doing like a really intense look, but it applies for lashes as well. Instead of going all the way across your eyes, which will like make your eyes look, you know, big from the center and on the outer corner and on the inner corner, if you just focus on the outer corner, it will really give you like a really lifted look. So if we go to the macro, instead of going like here, I'm gonna focus it just here. And you will end up picking up some from the center, which is all good, but I tend to basically leave these lashes here. That's making my lashes look so thick. Ooh, that's nice. And I actually don't tend to curl my lashes. Sometimes I will if I'm literally wearing like no mascara, just if I want them to look a little bit more lifted. But when it comes to mascara, I never curl my lashes because again, I want them to be pulled outwards. Okay, so now for lips, I'm gonna make sure that I have a super, super sharp lip liner. This is the Doll Beauty one in the shade Diva Forever. It's like a really dark brown. Now, I'm actually a firm believer that it does not matter what lipstick you use, but you need to make sure you use the right lip liner. So like, honestly, I could use this lipstick here for basically like the majority of my makeup looks, other than like obvious things like red or whatever. But if you're doing some sort of pinky, brownie, nudie sort of lip, you only really need one lipstick. It's all in the lip liner. So these days I do something a little bit different when it comes to lining my lips, because normally I would line my entire lip shape and then just like go over a little bit slightly. But now what I do, and I'll show you, is obviously we've made that little shadow underneath there. That's where I usually start. So I do this to the little face and I go over my lip line. So my lip line is so hard to do it when you're just talking. My lip line is like here. I go quite a bit underneath because you're not going to see it. So under like that, okay? Again, instantly you can see that's made even more of a shadow. And then I connect it all the way to the corner of my mouth. Before, I actually used to do this weird thing where I never used to like fill in the outer corners of my lips. I think it's because I have like, I don't, but I always feel like I have quite a long mouth. I have a long mouth. Why does that sound so unhinged? But I used to try and like shorten my lips a little bit and make them look a little bit more pouty. But now I'll go all the way to the side and I always fill in the outer corner. And even just doing that, as you can probably see, it's made my bottom lip look so much more fuller, and I haven't even overlined it other than this little bit underneath. But But again, because I've left some blank space in the middle, it pushes it out more. It makes it look bigger. So before for my top lip, I used to just go over my entire top lip, like overline here, overline here. Now I only really tend to overline in the center. In fact, if anything, I actually underline on the outer corners of my lip. I almost kind of do it in a little bit of a scooping motion. Like instead of going across like this on my lip line, I kind of scoop it up to make my lips look, again, a bit more pouty in the middle. So I'll show you. Instead of going across here, I will start at my Cupid's bow, but actually skip out on that little bit there. If you need to add a little bit of concealer to clean it up, do that. And go down to the outer corner. And actually sometimes what I will do, this is a bit rogue, okay? You have to kind of do it in quite a subtle way, otherwise you do just look like the Joker. But sometimes what I will actually do is extend my top lip and kind of bring it upwards. So instead of my mouth kind of being more downturned or just straight across, it'll actually look like it's lifting at the sides. Like my lip line actually starts here. But the only bit that I've actually overlined is that tiny, tiny bit of my Cupid's bow. And then I will just overline that a little bit, following the same shape of my natural Cupid's bow. Natural, but just overlining it like that. And it looks so pouty in the center of your lips. And so like I said, honestly, it doesn't really matter what lip color you're actually using. It just depends on the lip liner, because I'm now going to use the Charlotte Tilbury Kim KW lipstick. I wasn't sure if they actually still did this. It's such a good nude. It's like a really 90s nude, but they do. So I'm going to add a little bit of that in the center. I have had this for so long. This is literally basically all I use for my lips. And then you can just blend it out, and it creates an extra little highlight in the center of your lips, makes it look even more pouty. And honestly, I do this for like every single lipstick that I own. And if you don't want to buy this or any other like more pale lipstick, literally just use a bit of concealer. It's so simple, but it works so well. Okay guys, so this is the finished look. And honestly, if I could just wear this makeup every day for the rest of my life, I would be happy. This is all I need. All I need is just a shit ton of makeup on my face. I just feel like everything is just suddenly up. Everything's just lifted. Anyway, guys, hopefully a few of these tips helped. Let me know if you guys try them. Let me know your thoughts. And if you guys do want to try out Dematica for yourself, then don't forget you can use my code STEPH and you will get 50% off your first 3 months. Anyway, that's it from me today. Like I said, if you see this video, we're in the clear. We're all good. All technology is working in my favor. If you enjoyed this video, as always, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe if you do want to see more of me, because I upload all the damn time. Sure. But stay tuned, because I do have a video coming fairly soon. I'm not going to say when, but I do have a video coming fairly soon, and it's going to be very different. But anyway, I love ya, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.